This is going to be Chris. Hello, Chris. You are up next, sir.
Hey, Bart, you got me?
Hey, what's going on, Chris?
I'm doing well.
Now, Chris actually has a hand that he had the pleasure or the ability or the luckiness. Maybe there's a backstory behind it, but this is actually a hand played from Max Payne Monday on Hustler Casino Live. Is that right?
That's correct.
How did you get on this game, just out of curiosity?
I've been on the show about 7 or 8 times, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And I know Ryan and Billy and...
There you go. Well.
Yeah, Nick and... Yeah.
That's nice. Are you a fun player, like, quote unquote?
You're supposed to be if I'm on the show, right?
Max Payne Monday, what's the exact... I know they changed it. It's a 5,000 by Max Payne now or 10?
10K cap.
Okay, 10K cap. And what are the blinds?
It's 10, 20, 20 big blind ante, $40 Mando straddle.
10, 20, 40, 40 big blind ante.
20 big blind ante.
20 big blind ante.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last few times I've gone out to Hustler, I've played on Thursday night games, and all of a sudden they had a 10K cap on the game. I'm like, oh man, it feels so small.
Yeah, last time I played on Thursdays when they did the ante game, it was 5-5, 100, 200.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
So how deep are you sitting?
I've got 4280 in my stack.
By the way, do you have any idea what date this came from?
March 4th.
Monday,
March 4th. Yeah.
3 weeks ago? March 4th.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we'll definitely put a link to the live stream because you can always watch it for free. So 4280 effective, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So pre-flop starting stacks, the key players middle position has 11K, cutoff has 9.7K. I'm on the dealer button myself, and then the big blind has 11.6K.
So you're the short stack here.
I am.
Okay.
Okay. So middle position and cutoff limp to 40. I'm on the dealer button with Queen of Clubs, King of Diamonds, and I raise to 200.
King of Diamonds, Queen of Clubs on the button, and you make it 200.
Yes.
Seems solid to me.
Yeah, it's pretty standard at this point. Big blind, middle position, and cutoff all call, and there's 850 in the pot pre-flop.
So it went middle position limped, cutoff limped too?
Yeah.
So, and you made it 200. I might have made it more. I thought that there was only one limper. So you're just making, I'm saying you're just making it 5x. But from what I've seen from these games against some of these players, I mean, they are just so wide. King, Queen is such a good hand to value raise. I might have made it like 300 because they're still calling. And then, you just play accordingly post. I mean, I know there's not going to be a whole lot of bluffing in these types of games that are going on. But okay, so you King, Queen at 200 over 2 limps, big blind calls. And the limpers call.
Yes.
Okay. 850 in the pot. Okay.
Yep. And the flop is Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Spades, 5 of Diamonds.
Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Spades, 5 of Diamonds. You got trips?
I got trips.
Okay. Not a bad flop.
Yeah. So big blind, middle position, check, cutoff, who's Brandon, who I've played with before. He bets 500.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the over limper just leads right into you for 500.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just one where, in live poker in general, I'm not like a huge fan of slow playing. It's just so strong here for you to raise. And more often than not, he doesn't have anything. So I think you're just almost forced to call. Because you're going to get the money in from a queen anyways. If somebody from up front has a queen, they're going to check raise right away anyways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he limps. I mean, he doesn't have ace queen here.
Right. I'm talking about some of the other people, though, from up front here, too. And he's not, right. You get the best hand here, 99.9% against him. You don't know about the other players, but chances are. And then, just in the back of your mind, not that you have to play balanced in a lineup like this, it's you're probably just calling with everything that you're continuing here with.
So that's what happened. I called, and then Nate Hill in the big blind calls.
Who's Nate Hill?
He's on the show quite a bit. He plays on Mondays and Thursdays a lot. And
he's not like a boxer, like an athlete or something, is he?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So you guys put in 5. This guy donk bet. This is a donk bet. When talking about
total donk bet.
Yeah. Definition of terms. People are like, where did that term come from? Donk bet. Well, it used to be that when someone let out into the pre-flop raiser, he was a donk. Then the game kind of changed. But I think with this setup, this is a donk bet in the old traditional sense. 500 call. So 2350 in here. Okay.
And turn is the 6 of diamonds.
By the way, apparently Nate Hill is some sort of streamer, like Twitch streamer or something like
There
that.
it is, yeah.
Okay. So 6 of diamonds brings in the front door. Is that right?
Correct.
Because, I mean, when you start to think about what is somebody donk bet into you, what are they, if it's not going to be a queen, it's usually going to be diamond draws. And then, of course, what is the guy calling behind you with, right?
Yeah, and I've played with both of these players, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, so I'm kind of familiar with them.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's the best card for you, though.
No, I don't like it at all.
Okay.
And so it goes, Nate's first act, he checks, and Brandon checks in the cutoff.
So Brandon checks.
And it's on me, and I check.
Yeah, I mean, that's the play right off the bat here. I mean, you've got the king of diamonds because it's like you have a bunch of equity against a non-ace high flush here if somebody turned it. And it would just really suck to get jammed on, right? You know what I mean?
That's the thing is I was worried about stack to pot ratio. If I bet and somebody goes all in, I'm forced to call in a game where I cannot run it twice.
It's interesting that you say that about running it twice because, I mean, I've talked about this to death. The times that I'll run it twice are situations at Hustler Casino Live where I've only brought a certain amount of money with me. It's literally the only setup. And if I lose an entire stack, I might only have one more buy-in. And that's back when the game I was buying in for 20,000 and I'd bring 50 with me. That's a time to run it twice. But
yeah, I think I brought 20 with me.
Okay. So you're just saying that you want to run it twice to cut the variance down?
I just always kind of do. It's a lot of the games that I play are private games, and they're set up and they're fun games, and they're good players and there's bad players, and just running it twice is always better for the longevity of the games. So most players always want to do it, and I always go along with it.
I'm sure that you know this, Chris, that running it twice doesn't change anything. It really shouldn't change your strategy in terms of it shouldn't make you want to gamble more. That's why I'm just kind of picking on that little bit, what you were saying, because I thought maybe you didn't have that much money left. But we all know that. If it makes you feel more comfortable, that's fine. Now, with your play on the turn here, the only thing that I would say is that a lot of times, the shorter your stack gets, like you said, your SPR, the more money you just want to kind of get in. So you've got 3,500 left. It's about a pot and a half. Actually, you're not at that point. I was going to say, if you had 1,600 left, you'll start to see a reflection that you just start to just move it. You start to get it in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't mind the check here.
Yeah, my thought was if I bet on the turn card and it's what do I bet? I mean, do I bet small? Do I bet, something around $800 to $1,200 or something like that?
And again, the problem for you too here is that it's really hard not to get pot stuck, even if you were to go 600-700.
Yeah, exactly. If I bet anything and I get jammed, I'm committing myself to the call basically.
Because again, if someone has a lower flush, like a 2-card lower flush, you still have 7 diamond outs plus your boat outs. Or I guess, would it be 8 diamond outs? That's 3 diamonds, 5, 6. The 7 diamond outs and, 1 out to quads and 3 outs, 4 plus the pair. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of outs, right? So you check behind.
Yeah, and so then the river comes and it is the 8 of diamonds.
Okay, so now the 4th diamond comes out.
Does.
So queen, queen, 5, hero with king, queen, with the king of diamonds, raised preflop, gets donked into from the cutoff, just calls. We talked about that. But then you get the big blind overcall, turns the 6 of diamonds, 3 diamonds, and it gets checked through. And now the river is the 4th diamond. It's the 8 of diamonds, okay?
Right. And Nate Hill, the big blind player, leads out for 1,800.
And what does the
snap folds? He's gone. And being that we're on Hustler Live and we get to go back and see what he had, if you want to know what he had, I can tell you after the reveal.
Here's the problem. If I didn't know that this was on Hustler, and I didn't know how a lot of these guys play, I'd be like, wow, that's really interesting because with what this guy is representing, I'm mocking and mimicking myself. With what this guy, the way that he has played and what he's represented, he really should have a boat like he had 5s full. He shouldn't be calling with 6s, over calling the flop. Or he turned a 2-card nut flush. Like he turned the ace high flush because how does he have the ace of diamonds here? He can't just call the flop with just the ace of diamonds, right? That's the logical way that you would think about this. It should be fives full or like a 2-card ace X of diamonds hand. However, it's Hustler Casino Live, and the guy could fucking easily call with ace 9 offsuit with the ace of diamonds on the flop as an overcall, from what I've seen.
Yeah, and Nate's a capable player. Like he's good enough to just be straight up bluffing into 2 people here. Like that's what I thought too.
Well, the only thing, I mean, that actually leans me more towards a fold. That situation leans me more towards a fold. Not only just the fact that he would overcall with a stiff ace of diamonds, but I guess my point is that you can say somebody's, is capable of bluffing into 2 people when somebody feigns weakness, right? But what did he call the flop with, though?
Well, my original thought was that Brandon, the donk bet, could have the flush draw, and that Nate probably had some sort of like middling or smaller pair, pocket pair, something like that.
Well, you lose to 6s and you lose to 8s, by the way, too.
I know.
So let's look at so are we talking specifically about like 7-7 or like 4-4? Am I?
Yeah, something like that. 4s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. I think he could have all of that stuff. I think he could also have like a queen jack of diamonds, something like, or queen with a jack of diamonds or something like that too.
I don't think he did, but why? I don't think he's turning that into a bluff though. I think that gets checked.
Yeah.
I mean, could he? And then the other thing that's interesting here too is that even if he had trip queens and he doesn't have a diamond, he still likes to try to get to showdown and show like the bad beat. But I mean, he beats any hand that doesn't have a random diamond. So when you're looking at this though, I just said, and this is just based upon years and years of experience, I just said it wouldn't surprise me if the guy called with some stupid hand like ace 10 with the ace of diamonds, right? Maybe he was going to set up a bluff or something. But it would surprise me though, Chris, that he would overcall with 4-4 or 3-3. Because the cutoff bet 500 and you calling with 4-4 and 3-3 is way, way worse. And even to a guy that doesn't study poker knows is worse than calling with ace 10 with the ace of diamonds because you have no ability to improve whatsoever. So when you're looking at the board here and you're losing to 5-5, 6-6, and 8-8, if you don't give him like 3-3 and 4-4 like I'm not giving him, then now we're just saying, oh, he's going to bluff with 7-7, no diamond. That's a pretty compressed range. That's how I would look at this one. I think, again, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of history with him, but I would just say, knowing this game, and I've played in not specifically Max Payne Monday, but I've played on Hustler at least half a dozen times, I very well might fold in your spot against a similar type of opponent in a splashy game because I would go back to he had to have something on the flop to call with. And I don't know what he gets here with at the end that wants to bluff because I don't think Queen X no diamond is bluffing. And I don't think smaller flushes are bluffing. And I also think that he will call some of the time, overcall the flop with the naked ace of diamonds. And then, of course, we've got the boats that we lose to. Maybe he overcalls with 6-6. Maybe he overcalls with 8-8. Remember, there was no turn bet, so he could get to the river with 8-8. He could overcall with 6-6. But 6-6 is different from 4-4. That's kind of my take. I mean, it's 1,800 for 2,350, so you're getting 4,350 for 1,800, so a little over 2.5 to 1. So sounds to me like you called.
I did.
Okay. And what was the reveal?
He has the 8 of hearts, 8 of clubs.
Yep. But do you see what I'm saying about like how I think there's a difference between like 4-4 versus say like, 6-6 through 9-9 on this flop?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it kind of sucks. I mean, and the other thing too is like if you ever folded there and you were wrong, you would get flamed for eternity.
Chat pros would be upset. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Chris, I looked you up and I know that I think you're a basic sub on Crush Live Poker, so I appreciate you being a subscriber.
I am.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.